Hey guys, Negative9 here. How is it going, everybody? And welcome to another video. Today was the big day, the season finale for Season 3 of The Living World was released. One Path ends, and boy was it a good patch. There's been so much stuff added into the game, so I just wanted to make this quick video to sort of broadly go over everything that happened today. Obviously this will contain a little bit of spoilers for the story of the patch, but I don't want to go too crazy as there is much more to talk about in the future, and I want to save some stuff for when I have time to really sit down and make a really detailed video. So this is just going to be my first impressions of the patch and sort of how I enjoyed it, what I thought of it. And yeah, so honestly, like I said, this is one of the biggest patches that we've had in a long time, or I should say probably one of the best patches. Just the quality of stuff that they've added in, stuff that was listed and a bunch of stuff that wasn't in the patch notes. There's been stuff like legendary trinkets added to the game, which is a huge deal for a lot of people. I'm sure I'll start getting excited about that once I start seeing the legendary trinkets and exactly how they work and stuff. But right now, a lot of people are really excited about that and starting to work towards those, I think, or trying to see how to work towards those at least. So that's one huge thing, and a countless number of other things. But I want to talk about the story first of all of this patch. I played through it with a couple guildmates, and it was a great story. It is really far from what I thought the storyline was going to be like, but I think it was still really good.
Not to interrupt your riveting reproach, but look who it is. Care to spar, Commander? I'm itching for a worthy opponent.
We got some backlash and some response to Balthazar being back for once, which was kind of cool to see. And it made it feel a little bit more real, because in the last patch, like I said, we didn't really get any of that. So you have to go find a White Mantle base, and you are joined by a Shining Blade member. I can't remember the name, but a very interesting Shining Blade member that sort of helps you through this base where you are trying to find one of the aspects of Lazarus, I believe.
Well, well, what have we here? Need some help?
As long as you're here, Commander.
So obviously we went back towards the Lazarus story a little bit, which was a little bit unexpected, honestly. I thought we were going to be pretty much done with him forever. I thought maybe way off in the future they'd bring him back, like 3 or 4 expansions down the road, like when they're really desperate for new stuff, they could bring Lazarus back again. But no, he was like one of the main points of this patch, which really surprised me. So we got a lot of cool stuff on the Shining Blade in this patch, a lot of cool stuff in the instances, a lot of more background information on them.
Brothers and sisters, I ask you, how is the petitioner softened to our cause?
By the tempering of metal.
How is the petitioner judged for steadfast integrity?
By the quenching of her metal.
How is the petitioner tested for resolve?
By the shaping of her metal.
We are the enemies of the Shining Blade. You will reveal all their secrets to us.
You will, or your life is forfeit.
Then I will take my sincerity to my grave. You are wrong.
Oath-taker, we have shared the wounds of our past. We now reinforce our future. With this oath, you will be bound to defend our secrets. You attempt to reveal them on pain of death.
Like I said, we got a lot of really cool lore about the Shining Blade, some really weird rituals, and like the more secretive side of the Shining Blade. And man, I think this patch kind of boosted them past almost the Order of Whispers and the Durman Priory for me. I think the Shining Blade are probably now, after that patch, the coolest organization in the game, I think. I didn't realize how... I mean, they're the Secret Service pretty much for Queen Jenna, but they didn't really seem all that secretive before now. But this patch, holy crap, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. So that was actually one of the highlights of the episode for me, the whole Shining Blade portion. But then we go off to Ore. We go off to Ore and we get a lot of cool stuff on the gods, and a lot of cool little pieces of lore here and there on sort of their characteristics and their personalities, because after the whole Balthazar thing and people not really sure what was going on, if it was actually Balthazar or not, I feel like they've gone back and sort of redesigned all the gods' personalities and stuff, so we know exactly who and kind of what we're dealing with. And I really like the new zone. It was a really good zone, Siren's Landing, I believe. It has one of the best jumping puzzles in the game. I didn't even know it added a jumping puzzle, but that huge pillar with the boat on the top, that's a jumping puzzle. And I mean, I'm not a big jumping puzzle guy, but that was definitely probably the funnest jumping puzzle I've done in Guild Wars 2, at least that I can remember. There's probably one way back when the game first came out, but that's a long time ago now. But yeah, the zone was really nice. I like it. I got map completion and stuff, but I'm still going through it, and I think there's probably some more little bits of lore dotted here and there. And then the final story instance of the episode was in the Reliquary of Abaddon, this sort of hidden reliquary, I think. And it was really cool. It actually serves as like a little gambling place, like when you're not in the instance, and you can go back and you have a chance to get things from chests in there, which I thought was kind of cool. And I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to farm stuff in this new map, which I will be looking into, of course, later on. But so the final instance was pretty cool. It was one of the coolest instances I can remember. Like, I can't remember being genuinely like shocked and surprised by stuff during the instance. So basically, the very quick summary of this patch is that we are trying to find the Eye of Janthier, because that will lead us to Balthazar. We're chasing down Balthazar.
We are chosen, you and I. In its presence, we'll be able to see Lazarus when he reforms. Look, there's the last aspect.
But no Balthazar. Damn. I was hoping.
No. No, Balthazar.
The time has come.
You ready to fulfill a prophecy?
At long last.
My dark slumber is at an... What is... more human treachery?
And basically the patch ends with us actually summoning the real Lazarus, which absolutely blew my mind when I realized what was about to happen. And of course, the big twist was that Livia was the Shining Blade agent that has been working with us this whole time. That raises a lot of questions around Anise, I think, because a lot of people thought Anise was Livia, because there's that whole thing about Anise looking a lot older than she looks. So I think there's some more weird stuff around Anise as well. But seeing Livia again was really cool, and there were some epic lines in that last instance. But basically, we summoned Lazarus, and I was blown away when that happened. I was not expecting that to happen, so I was genuinely like a little bit intimidated. Like, we got to this like little summoning zone, and I was like, oh snap, we're really gonna do it. So that was actually pretty intimidating. It was cool to see, though. It was cool to see Livia and the player character fighting the real Lazarus, and then at the end killing him and ending the race of the Mersat for good.
It was never going to end any other way. I am... Mersat! I am...
Finished! Soon to be forgotten. Look at my face. I, Livia, defender of Kryta. I witness your last and final death.
That was one of the coolest moments in Living Story, probably period, that I've experienced, that I can remember. So I'm definitely going to be playing through that again, but after we kill Lazarus, the Eye of Janthier is still sitting there, and before it disappears, Livia tells us that we can place our hand on it and ask it where Balthazar is.
Wouldn't you rather ask the Eye of Janthier about Balthazar?
What? I can do that?
Better hurry. I don't know what will happen to it now that its masters are gone.
What should I do?
Ask your question and touch it. I'll stand ready, just in case, you know.
Well, here goes nothing. Where is Balthazar? Show me the god of war and fire. Ah, nothing's... Oh...
So this trailer was one of the coolest things about this patch, and the one thing that I think people were almost most hyped for, and while it wasn't the type of trailer that we thought it was going to be, there is going to be an expansion announcement on August 1st, so next Tuesday we'll get the real expansion trailer that gives us probably some of the details and the specifics of new features and stuff being added into the game. But this trailer, people were really hyped for, and I was really excited for it. So watching this was really cool for the first time. I honestly was like shaking a little bit when it started. I knew the trailer was going to happen. She was like, put your hand on the eye, and it will show you where Balthazar is. And I was like, oh snap, it's about to go down. There's a trailer incoming. So my body was ready, and it was a cool trailer. It was a little bit hard to decipher at first, but after a couple watches of it, I think I get the general gist of it. It's very basic. There's not really much to infer, but there's a couple things that I do want to clarify on it. So it's showing Balthazar in the Crystal Desert. Now, it wasn't immediately recognizable at the Crystal Desert. Honestly, if I hadn't known through the leaks and stuff that we were going to the Crystal Desert in Alona next, I have no idea how I would have deciphered that initially until the character said it after the trailer played. He said, okay, I guess we're going to the Crystal Desert. So yeah, that was a little bit weird at first. It just showed a lot of empty landscape, but there were pyramids, so I guess it did make sense. It wasn't as blatant as I thought it was going to be. But one of the biggest parts of the trailer wasn't actually the Crystal Desert part, in my opinion. It was near the beginning when they show some sort of dragon being killed by, I think, Balthazar. It shows this dragon of some sort and a spear coming down out of nowhere and impaling this dragon and killing it around a crowd of cheering like warriors. I can only assume maybe the Zaishen or whatever, the people who follow Balthazar. That's my first instinct, but again, this is a little bit of a weird trailer because people automatically assume that this is showing the future, but according to Olivia, this is supposed to be what was happening right that second. So I don't know if there was a little bit of artistic freedom in this trailer or what we're supposed to take out of it, but that was the most interesting part. Immediately, my first reactions were like, because of all the fire and stuff, you immediately sort of think, was that Prime Mortis? Was that an Elder Dragon being killed? And then I'm like, no. After a couple watches, you could clearly see some crystalline like things attached to the dragon. So like, it's obviously not Prime Mortis or Jormag. They said they were both asleep, and that's the whole reason we're going to the Crystal Desert, is because Balthazar is now turning to the one Elder Dragon, or one of the two Elder Dragons that are awake and active. And obviously the most known one is Kralkatork, so that's why we're going there. So my question is this Kralkatork being killed by Balthazar? I have no idea. I mean, I feel like that's not something that could happen off screen. That's too big of a thing to happen off screen, but if that did happen, it's really cool. If that's, a lot of people just assume this is what will happen if we don't stop him. It could be a champion of Kralkatork, and it could just be symbolic, showing that Balthazar is going after Kralkatork in a symbolic sense. So yeah, I'll be very excited to see the trailer on August 1st. That was how they announced it, and it was different than the Heart of Thorns announcement trailer. The Heart of Thorns announcement trailer, I think, will always be one of the most exciting things, because it was at a time when we didn't even know if there was going to be an expansion to Guild Wars 2 ever. So it wasn't necessarily as exciting as that, but it was pretty exciting. It was one of the most exciting things, obviously, that's happened in a long time. So it was really enjoyable. I just really wanted to get this very, very rough video out of the way. Honestly, I didn't want to talk about the story too much because it's so much of a blur right now. I need to go back and play it. Otherwise, I would be afraid I'd be spewing some stuff that wasn't even necessarily true. So I tried to hold back on the detailed story discussion. That will come at a later time, of course. If you want to see every single one of the cool things that was added in this patch in terms of features, Wooden Potatoes did make a video where he generally went over a bunch of the stuff that wasn't listed in the patch notes. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Be sure to check it out. And if I don't make a video before next Tuesday, then I will see you next Tuesday for sure, because we will get a trailer, and that is when the real fun will start. So very, very exciting times in the Guild Wars 2 community. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.